A brand new year, and Capital Sports is also a rebranding to get the feels and vibes of the new year. And we are saying a very happy new year to you as you're still celebrating. Yes, we're back to work, but I know some others are still celebrating the new year. And we have to come here to talk to you about some of the happenings, latest happenings in the world of sports. And the team and crew always ready to get you some of the latest. Right away, Bade Adelia is here. Bade, I want to say Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, Abdullah. Good to be here. And of course, it's a brand new year. Let's hope it's going to be, a good year, a memorable year for Nigeria, especially in the area of sports.
All right, well, we're hoping and our expectations are very high, like any other person out there talking about our national teams, talking about sports development, particularly grassroots sports development, where we'll have to go identify with some of those latent talents that we could nurture for national glory someday to come. But by the right away, I would want us to look at so many things. Yeah, the year 2024, just passed by. But we cannot but talk about some of the highs and lows, some of those activities that made 2024 tick and memorable for us. Let's begin on a general note. We saw how the year started. The AFCON came, we saw our Super Eagles. Nobody gave them that chance. They somehow conquer, if you ask me, coming second out of other national teams that participated, at that Africa Football Mundial. Let's take it off from there. Then we narrow it down to some other sporting activities, basketball, volleyball, handball, name it. We'll talk about them as time permits us.
All right, Abdullah, I would say the year started on a very good note for Nigeria. No one expected the Super Eagles of Nigeria to get, into the final of AFCON 2023 decided in, early 2024 because, with people did not trust in the coach, the style of play, and of course, they felt maybe at that point the NFF were not, showing a lot of, concern when it comes to the national team. And so many were shocked when they saw the motto of, the campaign. Let's do it again. People were like, what do you want to do again? Well, and the first game, we saw the first game. It was a 1-0 draw. And, we considered first before we could equalize. And many were still looking at it like, see, we told you about this voice until we beat Cote d'Ivoire. And of course, we then went ahead to win our third game then. We were now seeing clean sheets, and people felt like, okay, this team, they look serious. We got to the second round. Cameroon came, just like they would say, we got that win. Angola, South Africa, then Nigeria, they took it from the Super Eagles. Like, you see this cup? It's us, we're winning it. And of course, they felt like, it was going to be their turn to win. But unfortunately, I've always told people there's nothing like playing, with hunger. Hunger at times, it goes beyond tactics and skills. Hunger is what will make you feel like, oh, you see players like I think Ahmad Diallo of Manchester United. He plays with hunger. That type of player, if you're not careful,
Hunger for victory.
you understand the way it snatches the ball from you. You're just like wondering, like, how did he do it? So at times that was what worked for Cote d'Ivoire, and of course they won. And Nigeria came second, not a bad one. Considering the fact that predictions put them around fifth place finish or sixth place finish. Afterwards, it's not been the best of Afterwards, there's really nothing to write home about when it comes to the Super Eagles of Nigeria because AFCON qualifiers we even ended it on a loss, and the World Cup qualifiers we've not seen any win, no win in about 4 games. That's bad. So looking at that, it's terrible. So looking at the 2024 for football in Nigeria, especially at the Super Eagles, not the best of things to write home
But
about.
some might say it's a game of sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and you can't just win every time.
It's understandable. I can accept that, when it comes to AFCON, even if we had equalized, in the dying minutes and it went to penalties and we lost. Somebody like Olaino, one of the best players of AFCON 2023. Lost his penalty against South Africa. Let's say, we were in trouble for that. We wouldn't have played in the final, and that would have been understandable. But you can't play AFCON matches, you play at home, you play away. It's an issue of draw up to the point that you now finally lost. So, talking about the World Cup qualifiers. So, and of course, the way we ended the AFCON, so many countries got the job done by day four, match day four. But we had to wait till, other results favored us and all those things, Libya, Bra, and all those things. So when it comes to the AFCON, you give it to them. But even the coach and the players, they know that it's not been the best. It wasn't the best of years for them in the qualifiers.
All right. Well, if we take it away from the Super Eagles and places where getting qualification and also facing their opponents with the best of what they could do with their legs.
You bring the highs and the lows, just like the Super Eagles. The high for them was the AFCON, and of course the low for them, the World Cup qualifier. Same with the Super Falcons of Nigeria. They finally qualified for the Olympics after years of waiting. So it's been a very long time to qualify. That was the high, and of course the low was that how they performed at the competition. And I will tell you this: if South Africa, Zambia, Morocco, or any other African country had performed the way the Super Falcons performed, we'll have excused them. We'll have even commended them for that. But come on, we're Super Falcons, officially nine-time African champions, unofficially 11-time champions. So you cannot rule Africa for 11 times and all these things. And so what's the problem? Are we just learning how to conquer to conquer Africa? And when it comes to going to play at the world stage, are we going to see you fret or what's really wrong? So not delivering at the Olympics. And many people expected them to at least try to do some magic. They were just first game, second game, we saw hopes and we saw flashes of
All
good
right.
things. But the last game wasn't the best. So the low for them was not making it out of the group for the Olympics. And of course, the high for them, evidently qualifying for the Olympics.
All right. We also saw the under 17 team and the under 20, women's team too. I think they were able to do something in 2024, which I think was not done bad. They've not done badly.
I've got no issues with them. Or, I think when you're talking about age grade competitions, they are meant to be developmental. And that is what the National Sports Commission is trying to instill, in Nigerians that see, win at all costs, forget it. Progress, yes, that's what we're targeting. And what are we getting out of this? But at the same time, we've come to Africa with defeat teams 16-1 on aggregate. We beat them with reckless abandon, and of course, we score goals and we do all those things. Then we get to the world stage, we win our games 5-0, 7-0, everything. Then when it's very much crucial, it will be the team that has not been performing well that will just beat us. So I put that like, want it to be developmental by one side. At the same time, we've got to compete well. Don't tell me that, we've competed a long time and we cannot still win the World Cup. So with the present, what I would suggest is that we have a very strong under 17 team. Let's see how they graduate to the under 20 team, and possibly maybe they can rule the world because they are doing well. So even the home-based lads, they are very good to play at the world stage, at the under 17 level, and of course now they are moving to under 20. But Abdullah, I can assure you, some of the stars coming up in this Super Falcons of Nigeria, they are from the under 20 team. So the progress we've always wanted, we're seeing it when it comes to women's football. The new coach bringing in some players, from the local league, from the domestic league, and of course, some, others, who are even based in other parts of the world, coming into the Super Falcons. But they've already represented the under 17 and the under 20 teams. I think that's huge. So that's one of the things, to celebrate.
All right, well, it's still Capital Sports, and we're looking at what would have happened in 2024. Yes, we put the year behind, but we cannot but talk about some of the high points of what we think we need to look back in trying to put forward what we should be expecting in 2025 in terms of our expectations in our respective sports. But particularly those ones that we know we have comparative advantage going to win as far as international competitions are concerned. So you could be part of the discussion by joining us on the discussion. Call the studio line to be part of what we're talking about. But before we begin to get that, but I would also want us to quickly not only talk about football. We saw how the Tigress at least did us proud. We were all proud of their fate at the African continental competition, and we also saw them took that to the Olympics, which we saw a big wins for them.
I think the Tigers of Nigeria were not surprised when Reina Wakama was appointed the coach. Not many people, felt like she was going to do it. She was going to do something beautiful. I could remember speaking with one of the players for the Tigers, and she said, like they've been invited for open camping, which means you're going to fight for shirt. And it's like in football, you're calling Osimhen, Taiwo Awoni, Olaino, and all the stars. You're calling like 40 and you're telling them start fighting for shit. So, and of course, you sponsor yourself to that type of camp and everything. So you now have to fight for the starting spot. Then when we select you, others will go, they will now go for the competition. That was what she did. And most of those players, they turned up. And she was able to select the stars that she needed. And they went for the Afro basket. And many people never felt like they could do it again. They did it. And of course, from there, they were very much ready to go for the Olympics. And when they went for the Olympics, very tough group. And many people felt like if you're in a group like this, that you will not be able to do anything beautiful. You just win at most again. But despite their only mistakes and all that, they were the team, to watch at the Olympics. They did so well and qualified for the quarterfinal, becoming, by doing so, they became the first team in Africa to achieve that type of, record, male or female, to qualify. And of course, Coach Rina Wakama was named the coach of the tournament. And of course, Nigeria's, the Tigress, they could have advanced, but they were very much unlucky that they met the eventual champions, United States of America. And we all know that all the countries in the world are still looking for the cheat code, to defeat America when it comes to, basketball. If you beat them today, you don't tell them to come tomorrow again and you beat them. So you just thank your stars the day you defeat them. So it was difficult for them to, get that win. But it was an interesting one, especially the last quarter. They gave good accounts of themselves. So they were just the shiny lights at the Olympics for Nigeria. So the Tigers, if you say I should pick my team of the year, when it comes to all sports, I think I'll pick the Tigers.
All right, well, picking the Tigers, I know viewers out there will agree with you, but some might have their own reservation. But if you put it on the table, you know that they did excellently well, and we were all proud of what they were able to achieve. But we hope that they could, or can sustain such momentum in terms of going out there, get us not only representing us, but getting to a level where would have been like we're breaking past records. If we can win the tournament, break the records that you've set before, and probably get somewhere.
I don't think they've been together since that time, since July, August. This is January, so it's been a long time, and that's one of the things what we've always talked about. They could have come together to play one or two friendlies.
Let me ask you, Nigeria, handballing nation, or we're not there?
We're not there yet because the North Africans are still, taking charge. It's still difficult to defeat them when it comes to that. Even the same thing, that we're facing. So I wouldn't say that Nigeria, but are we developing? Yes, we've got a very good league coming from the lower divisions to the Premier League. The Premier League is one of in fact, I think what the consistently sponsored league in Nigeria in any form of sports is handball. They've had sponsors for the last 5 years or thereabouts consistently, and I think it's huge. And they always have the first phase and the second phase, except I think the only year they didn't have both was in 2020 during the pandemic, and afterwards it's been very beautiful. So are we developing baby steps? No, we're making more than baby steps in handball. Are we a force to reckon with in Africa? I don't think so, because all the North Africans and even Cameroon will still give us a very good run for our money. But are we getting there? Yes, with qualifications for the under 19, under 21, and of course we know the leagues, and of course military and paramilitary teams having their teams, playing in the Premier League, road safety, canopy pillars, civil defense, and all these guys. So it's huge. If we're becoming a handball nation, yes, but are we giants in handball? No.
Okay, well, we hope that will be giant someday. Now, another sports that we saw thriving is the volleyball. Is it tied to the federation president who is so passionate about putting all he has to ensure there are constant competitions, and Nigerians at least would have gotten something out of nothing when it comes to volleyball?
It's just the same thing too. They've got a very good president, that's Musa Nimrod, who has, always ensured that no matter how they have the league. And of course, last year we saw the first phase and the second phase that came towards the end of the year. In the last quarter, they sponsored by, the Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeni, which was quite interesting. But and we saw the way Nigerian teams too have been doing, on the continent. We've been trying our best, and these days you have two forms of volleyball: normal volleyball in the court, the indoor one, and the beach volleyball. So, which has given an opportunity for Nigeria to also make their mark. Gradually, we just saw the election of Musa Nimrod into the African body, and of course being made the chairman of the Premier Finance Committee and great things, and of course even the chairman of the president of the Nigeria Olympic Committee is still very much in charge of so many things in volleyball. And when it comes to FIVB, which is the world body, so gradually and gradually, just like handball, volleyball, we're getting there. And of course, what you can attribute to all these things they have, they have at the moment is, all these things they have at the moment, you can just look at, the thriving league in the country.
All right, well, buddy, we will still have other issues to talk about, but we just have to tell you that it's still Capital Sports reaching you from the Unity Station NT Channel 5 Abuja. You can be parts of this discussion by calling the studio line, which is right on the screen, to be part of the first edition in the year 2025 Capital Sports Studio program. Now, buddy, quickly, let's also look at. The National Sports Commission. It's the part of what one can say is the achievements of the 2024, no matter how anyone wants to look at it. Yes, we saw the coming of the National Sports Commission again, the alteration, no more Ministry of Sports, and ever since we've seen the duo of Bukola and Musa Diko, Ashio Diko, trying to do so many things to, revitalize sports in Nigeria.
Oh, Abdullah, to people in the sports fraternity in Nigeria, they feel it was the best decision of 2024. And they're thankful to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for three things. Number one, for the return, the scrapping of the sports ministry and the return of the National Sports Commission. Two, he could have done that and we would have picked,
Sorry, we just have to interrupt okay. You. You have this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, your name and where you are calling us from, please.
My name is Joseph. I'm calling from Abuja.
Joseph?
Idoko Felix. I'm calling from Abuja.
Oh, Idoko Felix, quickly talk to us. This is the first edition of Capitals. So happy New Year to you.
I want to ask, when did the Nations Cup started?
Nations Cup?
Yes.
Okay.
December this year.
December this year.
Okay. December this year. December.
December this year.
Do you mean the next edition, the 2025 Nations Cup? They want to be played in Morocco.
AFCON 2025, you're asking, or the next one?
Yes, it's there.
Yes, in December in Morocco.
It's December and January 2026. It will start late December and all through January 2026.
All right, thank you, Idoko. All right. Okay. Well, he's our first caller for the year.
Yeah,
So
quite.
congratulations to him.
Quite.
All right. Just a question across, so, and we've been able to take care of that. So,
All right. The first point, the reintroduction of the National Sports Commission, and the second point is that the president could have just picked somebody, maybe you're on your farm or you're somewhere, as an
sorry, I just have to
engineer.
interrupt you. Hello, good afternoon. We missed that caller. Sorry
Because
about that. You can call us again.
many people are now hailing the president for, putting the round peg in the round hole with the appointment of Shehu Diko and Bukola Olopade, who are known to be real sports administrators, marketers, and of course, people that can turn something dead in the sports sector to something, that will be thriving. And of course, they've been mandated to create a thriving sports economy. And thirdly, the budget and of course the platform that sports will be getting in the year 2025, that's huge. So that's what everybody will talk about. And when people do not understand what's the difference between the ministry and the National Sports Commission, it's just that when it comes to the National Sports Commission, it will not be where you can find experts.
Okay.
So you cannot say I'm working in National Sports Commission and I don't know what it's called.
You don't have anything to offer.
You understand? You have to be there. If you're not there, they can just ship you to the Ministry of Youth Development or somewhere else to go function well. But when it comes to the National Sports Commission, you have to, you will have something you're offering, and it's going to be made of people, and then that's the long process you have in the ministry. It's not there in the National Sports Commission, and of course they report directly to the president. That's why you've seen them.
So cutting bureaucratic
How many times
delays
we didn't come in on
okay.
board? How many times have they been able to see the president? Because they have to report back to him.
Progress
And
reports.
you understand and all those things. So it's understandable, not that maybe you need money for to be approved for the Super Eagles or something. You have to go through a very long process, and maybe by the time the money is released, you don't have that. So Abdullah, the long and short of it is that many people believe that is going to be the beginning of good things to come for sports in Nigeria.
Okay, quickly. Now, let's look at the MPFL, which I think have gone halfway, 2024-2025 season. Now, what's your rating of the MPFL so far? Just briefly.
I, 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 I had a chat for about 30 minutes with the chairman of the board of the MPFL. And of course, rating it, Abdullah, it's been beautiful so far. Referees have not been slapped. We've seen a reduction in fan violence and all that, and we've been seeing matches on mobile devices and on TV. I think it's huge. And of course, and if you don't believe that the Nigeria Premier Football League is huge, until you go to South America, other parts of the world, and you see that that's serious business, people are actually predicting to win money because they follow it so well. And so many people are now, ex-players
Sorry,
are
have
coming
another
in.
caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys.
Yeah, your name quickly, and where you're calling us from.
Yeah, my name is Jojo, calling you from FPK.
So, Joe, welcome to a brand new year and Capital Sports.
Thank you so much.
All right, quickly.
For me, I would say the year 2024 is a summary of good and bad for Nigerian sport.
Okay.
My highlight will be for the Nigerian Nations Cup. Initially, nobody knew the two names chance, but they came out tough. Even though they didn't come out with the overall top three.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to say to the program that if possible, if pictures of life can be trained, as you make analysis of the whole program, that will be fine.
Thank you, Tojo, and that will be considered seriously. Thank you for your observation.
Thank you so much.
All right, keep watching Capital Sports.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. All right, a valid observation there from Tojo, the FCT calling us. Okay, but quickly because I think we begin to run out of time.
All right, so just to say, I think maybe I've made my point.
Okay, now can we quick juxtapose the progress or the improvement in the MPFL to the CHAN Eagles qualifying for the
Evidently,
title.
Abdullah, evidently, once you have improvement, we've seen, some of the players that made us qualify, Sadiq, Ismail, all the stars from Remo
From
Stars and all
stars.
those things, you just know. And another thing is that we've been able to have a bit of consistency. Before Sadiq Umar now will be somewhere in Indonesia or one country in the Middle East, or another one in South America trying to make money. Even as as near as Benin Republic or Niger Republic, they wouldn't mind. So far they are going to be paid in a
Let's pick
currency
this as our last
that
caller.
is not
Hello,
naira.
good afternoon. Yes, tell us your name, please, and where you're calling from. We missed that caller. We gave him a grace to be our last caller for the day. We're running out of time. Okay, but quickly, let's begin to round up now.
And of course, the highlight of the year. Some said AFCON. It will be Ademola Lookman, winning. Another highlight for us will be Ademola Lookman emerging, the African Footballer of the Year. I think it was huge. It ruled not just Africa, but the world, because it made a statement that everybody saw him. He was the only man that stopped the unbeaten run of Bayer Leverkusen in all competitions, scoring a hat trick in the Europa League final. He finished 14th in the Ballon d'Or. And of course, he was already a candidate months before the African Footballer of the Year award. So Ademola Lookman emerging the African Footballer of the Year sends a lot of statements. Before, we've always felt like home-based players are always the most dedicated. But now, what we learned in 2024 was that most of these innate boys, innate girls, are also very dedicated.
But let's put a comma. When we come back next week, I think we'll take it off from there because we cannot just review 2024 in just one episode of the program.
Yeah.
So we'll just put a comma. When we come, we take it off from there. Thank you for coming on Capital Sports.
Thank you for having me, Abdullah.
All right, this is the much you have on this first episode in 2025 of Capital Sports. Do join us again, same time, same station next week when we come with another part of the review where we also look into the 2025 expectation of what we're expecting as sports lovers and followers. I am Abdullah Hajia. Good afternoon.